Good morning, everyone. Today is, what is today? Today is Saturday, the 12th of March. This is news from the Frunk. We have a very different episode today. We have an interview with someone I've known for a couple of years. Let's cut over to him. There he is, the gorgeous, the one and only, Mr. Mark Gemmell.
Crikey.
Mark and I have known each other for a couple of years. We first met at the Tesla Motors Connect, which is kind of the annual user event in California. There have been 3 so far. Mark's been to all 3. I've been to the last 2. And he and I were on a panel a couple of years ago. And then we saw each other again 1 year ago. But the reason why we're interviewing Mark today is not to talk about TMC or anything else. Mark is a serial entrepreneur. Started multiple software companies, but again, not the reason why we're talking to him today. He is the CEO of the Electric GT. What's the official name of the series, Mark?
Right, World Series. Electric GT World Series.
The CEO of the Electric GT World Series, which was announced this week. The press went crazy. There was Ars Technica and all kinds of people have been posting press releases on it, but given that I know Mark, I thought we might as well go to the source and have a chat. So thank you for making the time. First of all, it is time is it 10:41 here in Florida. It is 4:41 in Madrid,
Yes, sir.
Spain.
Yeah.
So, Electric GT World Series. What is it? Tell us about it.
Right. Okay, well, thanks for calling, first of all, Nick. It's really nice to speak to you anyway. And right, well, Electric GT is, as it says on the can, a race series for GT class vehicles and electric ones at that. So that really is what it is. Now, it's a World Series, so that means it's going to be all over the planet in due course. And well, I mean, as you know, there's a lot of focus on Tesla, and very happily so. But you know, the intention is that it's any kind of electric GT car that fits into, what shall we say, the right power to weight category.
Okay, so GT from the Gran Turismo, the old Italian phrase, generally a touring car, sedan cars. So there are already quite a few gas versions of this. We've got at the very extreme end, we've got the DTM, the Deutsche Touring Car Championship. We've got the British Touring Car Championship, the BTC, and various other single make series. But we were chatting earlier, and the reason why we're talking about this on News from the Frunk is, at least initially, this is going to be a 100% Tesla field. So you've got, I believe, 20 P85 plus Teslas that you're going to be racing all over Europe.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's the best car on the road for this kind of activity, just for a start. I mean, that's a very important in initial state. And then, yeah, I mean, it's challenging to get that many cars together in a way. There's a lot of you know, financing issues amongst other things, but the fact really is that it's really worth the effort. I mean, this is such a good vehicle that Tesla's put together. I find it frustrating that we don't see more of it in such things as sporting events, because it's such a capable machine. So yeah, that's exactly the plan, Nick.
Yeah. Now, I know you've put one press release out so far, and it didn't have a huge amount of detail. So I'd imagine that there's still quite a lot being worked out. But in terms of the race series itself, are the racers going to be part of regular kind of gas, you know, petrol race events with other cars taking place, or is this more geared specifically towards, you know, electric powertrains and the whole you know, EV space?
Yeah, absolutely, 100% electric only. So that's absolutely the case. I mean, no question. I mean, as we were discussing earlier, the truth is that our absolute fundamental intention here is to expose the world, the entire planet, to the fantastic technology that Tesla Motors have managed to put together, and the great hope that represents to us all, for us all to be able to switch to a superior technology, and as soon as possible start doing the right thing about the way the climate change and the damage we're doing to the environment. So yeah, I mean, it's got to be 100% electric. I know if Aston Martin follow through, Andy Palmer manages to follow through and deliver that electric Aston Martin, more than welcome to see it racing with us. Absolutely.
Okay. And then the electric Porsches and electric Audis and anything that that can cope with the stresses that racing would put on an electric sedan.
Exactly right.
Yeah. So tell me about the World Series. Tell me about the team. I mean, you're the CEO, but clearly it takes a lot more than that to form a European-wide race series.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a great cue, because I've got to say that it's only thanks to the tremendous team that we've got that we're able to get to this stage. From my co-founder, Agustin Payá, who I'd like to go into detail about because he's such a remarkable gentleman, and the effort that he's putting in, the people he's bringing to the table that are fantastic specialists in their own rights in a variety of fields, from race organization to business development. It's just fantastic. So, but we've also got in the team, ex-television presenters. We've got people who have been involved in world-scale, large 80 truck per show kind of events.
Wow.
We've got people who are professional race sporting managers. So people who really know all the big sponsors and all the legal ins and outs. So yeah, I mean, it's a good sized team, not your typical startup, because what I'm finding, in fact, is that there are you need a lot of people to put this kind of race together. It's not just money; it's talent and ability, contacts, and something I really like about this, Nick, and I think you appreciate it as well. That's the reason why you're doing this podcast. You want to be motivated, and when you do something that fundamentally is the right thing to do, then you jump out of bed in the morning and you get on with it. And I've got to say that putting together a 100% electric race that is going to absolutely rock everyone's world, it's just something you really want to see happen. And so we're getting these great, talented professionals joining us, and it's thanks to them that we are where we are now. Yeah,
fantastic. So you mentioned Augustine just then, your partner, one of the absolute key members of the team. Now, this isn't the first time that he's been involved in EV racing.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, at a small scale, he's certainly known, and in the race world, especially the electric race world, he's a gentleman who is known. So let me see now. For easily 5 years, Agustin has dedicated his racing activities to electric cars, and so that's quite something, because 5 years ago there weren't too many vehicles around to race. So you've got some eco races that have been organised by the FIA, in fact. So it's not like this is absolutely brand new to the sporting world. But anyway, the FIA have some eco rallies and things, and Agustin has been very active in those, and he is the Spanish champion. He's won many of these over the last few years. But most notably, in my opinion, I think is that he had this crazy idea of taking an electric car to the Dakar Rally, which is the hardest race event in the world. Now, he didn't just have that idea. He designed the car, he built it, and he convinced the CEO of a fantastic company called Acciona. It's a Spanish renewable energy company, really big on the world stage, big in water desalination, for instance. He convinced them to stick in something like 3 million euros into this project to make that car come to life. And he took that car and raced it. And it's been racing for 2 years in the Dakar Rally, the only electric car to take part. And in fact, the first year he drove the car and only managed to do 3 of the 10 stages. This year, although he wasn't the driver, they did manage to get that car to do 7 of the 10 and essentially do all 10, but not officially. That is such a tremendous achievement. For a start, he had to build this car, which is like a 300 horsepower race rally car with hot swappable battery packs that would allow the car to do 300 miles of racing through deserts. And He also had to organise all the logistics of these trucks to come and meet him with the spare battery packs to swap them out and keep going. And then just a little bit of icing on the cake. You have to drive with your fireproof underwear, your fireproof overall, your helmet, 50 degrees centigrade, no air conditioning in the vehicle. And as soon as anything goes wrong, you got to jump out in the sun and dig that car out of the sand or fix something. It's so difficult on all levels, that race. And there it goes. It takes that electric car with it. So that's what Agustin's made of. And I'm very fortunate to have him as my business partner. And so, yeah, co-founder of this event, this series. And who better, frankly, Nick?
So we'll talk about the series in a moment, and we'll talk about the cars in a moment. So let's just finish off on the team, because clearly it's going to take a village to do this. So we've got you and we've got Agustin. You've got a race prep team. You've got support crews. You've got how big is this operation?
It's a big team, but let's say about 20%, 30% of the team, shall we say, is engineering, and a lot of the rest is about sponsorship. It's about business. It's about team management and business development. Because to get all this going, you need a lot of money, and there's a lot of good opportunities for sponsorship here. And I'll take advantage of this podcast to point out, because I'm sure a lot of your listeners are people who are very influential in business and are sensitive to the things that we're doing with electric transport for the world. So yeah, a sporting series of this nature is raising a lot of interest around the planet with people who are very, interesting as far as a market is concerned. They're intellectually sound. They've got money. They've got desire to do things. So these are the kind of public you want to get to. And yeah, we're working hard to get together some good sponsorship packages, because you need a lot of money to do this. That said, Nick, it is looking very promising, I must say, especially even after just this week. The fantastic response in press. It's not that it blew us away, because as we were also talking earlier on, I felt from the beginning that this was an obvious idea that had to happen, that the demand would obviously be there. But that said, it's fantastic to see the kind of response that we've got in the press. We've been published in at least 12 countries. So I know for certain that we've been published in Russia and China, all around Europe, the US and Americas, and good responses. Not just cut and paste, but full translations, analyses, opinion. So yeah, it's a great response. I think it's really happening the way we wanted it to happen, Nick.
Cool, very good. So let's talk about it. Sponsorship, money, teams. We'll talk about the cars in a moment. The race series itself. So starting roughly in a year from now in Europe at what essentially are almost Grand Prix circuits, or have been used as Grand Prix circuits. I remember certainly Brands Hatch in the UK was mentioned, I think, in the press release.
I wish it were. Brands Hatch is a lovely one. Look at you.
Come on, you can think big. It's
oh, it is big. Come on. No, we've got like the Formula One circuits, the Nurburgring GP circuit. That's an F1. The one in Barcelona Catalunya, here in Spain. That's another one. There are several circuits that are absolutely top quality. But all the circuits are, in my opinion and the driver's opinion, first class. As in like circuits that are really enjoyable to race, that have got fantastic installations, that are a high degree of safety, and that are pretty easy to reach for the public. So obviously it's important that you don't stage the races somewhere where you can't get people to. But all these race circuits are absolutely ideal places to locate. Yeah.
Cool. Very good. All right, so let's talk about the cars. This is a Tesla podcast. You and I both have Model S. You've got a Signature. I've got one of the early ones, 3 years old now, and still, putting a grin on our faces every time we drive them. But it's very different taking a car onto a circuit than it is on the road. And I know some of us have taken Teslas already onto race circuits and had some good fun. And I was very fortunate to be driven by one of the senior Tesla executives around Laguna Seca. And within less than a lap, the batteries were starting to heat up and it was reducing the power, because the cars aren't designed to do that. I mean, if anybody just takes a normal gas car, if you take a BMW on a track and start thrashing it, it's probably going to break. It's a very different environment. So
even worse than the Tesla, in fact. Yeah.
So what are you? Tesla is notorious for guarding its technology. Although they opened the patents, they don't like people messing with things like the firmware that controls the system. I mean, typically in a gas car, you can go in, you can tune, you can tweak the ECUs, you can do all kinds of things. Now, you're just at the start of the series, so you're taking more of a kind of softly approach. What are you going to do to the cars to make them track worthy?
Right, that's a really key question, in fact, raised by many in the forums, and from the very beginning, this was our concern. So we've been taking the car around circuits with professional drivers, not just Agustin, but others, and observing the way the cars behaved. And with our professional race preparation team, we are investigating a variety of ways of dealing with these points. I mean, the very first point to take into account is that as soon as you reduce weight, you are going to make the car behave better, in so much as it's going to have to work less hard, or you're going to get a more spectacular result for you, more bang for your buck. But the cooling part is definitely a hot topic. It's definitely an issue, and we are counting on a variety of specialists to help us out in that area. And I honestly do believe, knowing what they're planning to do, that we will mitigate that problem. But you're absolutely right in a number of points, Nick. We will not be making any major changes to the cars, because it's absolutely vital that Tesla are very happy with what we're doing. All right, so we're not going to do anything that's going to upset them. And I imagine that anything inside the battery, or inside the power unit, or inside the drive, that's a no-no. And in fact, in general, we feel that just with anything beyond the bodywork, we really have to be very careful. But we've got some good advisors, and we're going to tread carefully. But we are going to make some changes that will guaranteed improve that situation. Now, that said, it will not go away. And I think that is one of the interesting sporting aspects of this, because the cars, if they go into power limit, they're still running pretty fast. But the driver who knows how to get the most out of the vehicle by keeping the speed up around the corners, not just hammering it to the floor as many do, but choosing when and how to apply the power. That's a driver that may find they get into power limit less often, and that's a driver that, when they need it, could do some daring overtaking maneuvers, and that will lead us to what will be spectacular racing, because it's down to driver skill if you're going to do well, and that's when people enjoy watching the races.
So a key thing, I suppose, to talk about is Formula E. That has been around the world now for a couple of years. There was one down here in Miami. It's been all over Europe. It's been to China. It's been to the US. So was that an inspiration for you? Have you taken lessons from those? Is there any relationship between what you're doing and Formula E?
So, I mean, it's a great point. Well, first of all, I mean, motorsport is, I'm afraid motorsport in general doesn't just run on fossil fuel. I find it is a bit fossilized in general. We're looking at the past with motorsport, I'm afraid, and we should be looking at the future. So yeah, you got to applaud absolutely the work that other people have done, especially with Formula E. I mean, we were mentioning earlier on that it's kind of a funny thing that I find myself in Spain, by the way. You kind of think, what, Spain's a kind of a quiet little country down there. In fact, an awful lot of motorsport and a lot of sport in general, it seems to be happening down here. It's an absolute hive of activity in that respect. And Formula E is one of them. The two guys who kicked off Formula E were both Spanish, Alejandro Agag and Enrique Bañols. So Alejandro actually doesn't live a million miles away from where I am right now. So yeah, it's a tremendous endeavour what they've done. They've built from the ground up a spectacle that is absolutely on a par with Formula One, which is, let's say 80 years in the making. They have lots of technology for covering the race, for keeping the cars going. They've put together teams. They've put together a great driver profile, the website and everything. Fantastic job in general. And in fact, they were the inspiration in so much as my wife and I went to the Monaco E-Prix basically a year ago. I think it was slightly under a year ago. And that's when we saw that, the race series was interesting. But then maybe we wanted to see cars that were closer to home racing rather than the rather more difficult to acquire to single-seater race cars. So yeah, they were absolutely the inspiration, and I thoroughly applaud what they've done. I think it's a fantastic effort. They have gone for a format which is challenging because setting up circuits in cities is a very expensive thing to do, and traveling the globe takes a lot of money, and I'm afraid does have a lot of environmental impact as well. But let's face it, this whole thing is about communicating a message that electric cars are here, that they're fun, and that they are our future. And that is exactly what they're doing. So by all means, kudos to those guys, 100%. But there's other events, Nick. Pikes Peak is a great example.
Of course, yeah. The EV West guys built the car that got the initial record on that, and then Monster had his attempt, and there's been lots there.
2015 was first and second place to electric cars, and as I say in all my pitches about this electric GT championship, electric cars are the only ones that are going to win Pikes Peak from now on. If you want to win Pikes Peak, you don't go with a combustion car. Yeah. But this is going to be changing in all motorsport, and as my co-founder Agustin said to the press recently, give it 10 years, and I think Formula One won't beat the best electric cars. So it's the way it's going. We're starting to see some examples, and it's only just going to get stronger and stronger, the presence of electric cars in sport.
Yeah. Now, they have, those Formula E cars can't charge fast enough, so they've been having 2 cars per race. Now, those of us that have got the Model S know we have these huge batteries that in normal driving will go for 250 miles. If you just drive normally, you don't have to take it easy to get that. Have you guys, you said you've already been on the track, you've done some modeling. Do you have a feel for what is achievable? Because, having driven on a race circuit, I've seen how quickly, and I think Top Gear once did a test with even just production Ferraris and driving around their track. They were getting like 2 miles to the gallon. So race cars absolutely drink fuel when you're driving them hard. So what are you expecting out of the Model S?
Well, speaking of lead-footed driving, exactly. These are drivers that probably wouldn't get that many miles out of the car. No. Driving hard. I mean, it's funny because we've got some great race drivers over here in Spain or in Europe anyway, and with some of them, I've noticed that they absolutely know that there are people who push the car hard but get good results, versus others who just push the car hard and waste the energy. So there is a lot of driver skill to get a good result from a car, but nonetheless, with the guys that we've been taking the cars on track with, we can see that we can expect to be able to do 60 miles of racing, right? So that's not bad. That is, given the sort of circuits we're going on, that's like 20 plus laps.
Yeah.
And that makes for a comfortable format of, let's say, 40, 45 minutes racing, which, I mean, I don't know about you, Nick, but that's about as much as any of us, I think, really want to see, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty
you want to
race,
see action. And you want to get on with your life, right? So make it short, and that's it. Yeah.
So charging at the tracks, you're going to have mobile superchargers. How are you going to do it?
Right. Well, I mean, that was loosely suggested by some folks in Tesla that we might get a mobile supercharger, but I won't hold them to that. But the fact is that all these race circuits have impressive power installations for a start. We're looking at generally 1 megawatt of power. So to charge what will be 20 race cars, there's actually 22 cars going to be driving around because there's other cars involved, plus the support vehicles. But to charge them, we're going to need about 0.5 megawatt because we're going to charge just using standard level. What is it? Level 2, 22 kilowatt.
Right.
Was that level 3? I always forget. Anyway, level something. So yeah, we're going to be charging at 22 kilowatts, which is relatively easy to do here, and all the pit areas have outlets of that grade, and we can easily connect up and charge. So yeah, the only thing is you need about 4 hours to charge. So the format is the training and qualifying, and then a charge period, and then the race.
Okay.
So during the race, there's no need to charge.
22 kilowatt suggests that you're going to be using the onboard chargers, so you're going to be using AC charging as opposed to using the CHAdeMO or supercharger DC charging.
Yeah. Well, we're just trying to keep it simple at the moment. I mean, if we had a sponsor, I know, of course, we're talking with sponsors who are power companies.
Yeah, so EDF, if you're listening, or someone else.
Well, exactly. I mean, we could list the companies. But yeah, there's a few that we're talking to right now. They know who they are. And they could be supplying CHAdeMO chargers, which would be better. That would provide a faster charge experience, but it would put a greater degree of stress on the power system in the circuit. Yeah. So if we were CHAdeMOing all the cars, we'd get it charged in half the time, but we'd need twice the power. Yeah. And this is a circuit that, the circuits are being used because we are there setting up a big festival. So we don't want to max everything out charging the cars, and we don't see that as necessary. So it should be, at the moment, just the way as I said. But if we went to a circuit which had, let's say, 2 megawatts, and we could get hold of CHAdeMOs, I think that'd be good. Superchargers, it just takes it a lot further because that's a big stack of superchargers, and you would need many megawatts to be able to tolerate that.
So basically, you're looking for Tesla to come along with a truck full of batteries that are already charged up. You can plug it into a supercharger and just drive it.
Listen to that. I mean, that obviously that's ideal. Now, I'm not expecting anything of Tesla. Zero. Okay, so let's just get that clear. I'm very happy that they're building the best car in the world. We'll deal with the rest. Yeah. But if there were one happy day when they were wishing to expose their power walls and power packs and blocks or whatever they're called, a truckload of those charged offline at some earlier date in some solar panel site that we've got around Spain and Europe, and then basically supercharging the cars on site, that would be mind-blowing. Yeah. But let's just save that for later, okay? Because we don't need that to race, all right?
Yeah, no, got it. So we've talked about the cars, we've talked about the team, we've touched a little bit about the circuits. I'll include a full list of the circuits, or to the extent that you've got them. We'll include those in the show notes. We'll also obviously include a link to your website, which is
electricgt.co.
Wow, electricgt.co. Very good. So what haven't we talked about? I mean, I'll hopefully come back and touch base with you in another 3 months. We'll keep a track on the progress. You said there's going to be maybe a support race or an early test race towards the end of this calendar year, November-ish, maybe.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, let's say there's a few things I could say that we've maybe spoke pre-recording. For instance, well, I think it's important to note about the drivers. Yeah. That the drivers are intended to be professional drivers with obviously a great deal of ability in handling a rear-wheel drive, a high-powered GT car. In addition, we would like them to be personalities that people enjoy watching. I don't want to give out any more details about these things at the moment, but the events are going to be quite special in the way that they are enjoyed by the public. And it is very important that the drivers be the kind of people that you really want to get to know and to follow in close detail. So yeah, professional drivers, 10 teams, 20 cars, and yeah, I mean it's a fairly standard format in that respect. There's a few other things that will come out in the next few months that will show you the way we're thinking about delivering this to the public, but it is absolutely our intention that we will show people not just how fantastic the cars are, and how fantastic our future is going to be thanks to electric transport, but that we can do a lot of cool things with technology that will blow people's minds as far as the racing spectacle is concerned.
Wow, I am super excited, super excited. So thank you very much, Mark Gemmell, CEO of the Electric GT World Series, coming to us live from his home in Madrid, Spain. We'll start the countdown clock. 1 year to go until the first race.
Oh my God.
I'm super impressed. So, I mean, it's just the idea of doing this is just incredible. I can't imagine the amount of work from the teams to the drivers to the sponsorships to the infrastructure to the. I mean, not a small undertaking, and it's wonderful. I mean, it's just amazing. And as you said, anything that can showcase, the possibilities of EV is just fantastic, and I'm super impressed. Thank you for the opportunity to learn a little bit more about it.
Absolutely, Nick.